seen a lame man walk, ever heard a dumb man talk, never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his name. Ever seen a canceled debt, ever seen all the poor get fed, ever seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his name. A broken heart made whole. Ever seen an orphan find a home? Ever seen the weak find the strength? I promise you will change his name. Ever seen the sick get healed? Ever seen a mystery revealed? Ever seen a death man raised? I promise you will change his name.
Hey, everybody! We're talking about my eyebrows here on the Big C, Bigger T podcast. That's the way we start. It's craziness. We'll never know what's going to happen. Welcome to the podcast, folks. I'm Bigger T, and as usual, always, for 52 straight weeks, a man, Big C, Clint Clark. My brother, how you doing?
Man, I am fantastic. Just great. It is hard to believe we've been doing this for a solid year. We had no idea what would happen when we first started. I mean, it started off, how it started off. Me and you were talking. I was talking about, hey, I'd watched this special on it was a Showtime special where they did a documentary on the Comedy Store. And my favorite episode was the Joe Rogan episode, and they kind of talked about podcasts. And then me and you start talking about like, hey man, had no idea. And me and you've been best friends literally since sixth grade. Yeah. Sixth grade. I mean, we're probably not since sixth grade, not gone longer than a week, two without talking to each other. Yeah, somehow. Even if it's just a text, Facebook message or whatever, maybe a Facebook poke. Are Facebook pokes even still a real thing?
I don't know, but we should look them up.
Yeah. But yeah. So we started hold on, let me do something real quick.
We got distracted. I'll finish the story. We started talking about how great it would be to do a podcast. It'd be kind of fun to try to do one, and we kind of talking about what avenue that would take, and here we are. And we decided let's just do it. Let's get on Zoom and let's just record it. And we started researching how to get out there and get it done. And so that's what we did. And so that's what we're doing.
It is not at all the original format. I mean, because we had a format that we wanted.
Yeah. And
I think it lasted like 3 weeks. And we're like, okay. But we knew it was going to be like water.
Yeah.
Like water.
Like the ocean.
Yeah, but we knew we'd have ebbs and flows, and then it's kind of grown into what we have, which is, it's still at the end of the day, it's us. It's conversations we would be having, whether we were on this podcast or not. Yeah, exactly. And that's what is great. I mean, I'm having a blast doing these. So,
well, with any podcast, you try to look for your niche, right? You look for what your thing is that may be different, and what our thing is. We've been best friends since sixth grade, and we had these conversations about this stuff, whether we're doing it over Zoom or whether we're doing it over the phone or through text or whatever else, okay, or sitting down breaking bread together. So we thought, hey, and we're somewhat entertaining. We entertain ourselves anyway. So we thought, hey, let's try it. And now, Clint, we have dozens and dozens of listeners out there, some that are very dedicated, and we are so excited. There's just the fact that there's a few, however many it is, that listen to us every week. Just
because we literally thought it was going to be our moms, and Sue's already said she don't listen.
Yeah, Mama Betty does when I send her a link to it. I've gotten slack on doing that sometimes.
It what's crazy is mom and dad don't really listen, and you'll be hard pressed to find parents that supported their kids' foolishness as much as Tom and Sue.
Yeah, yours. Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
they've went to so many football games to watch me stand there on the sidelines. They've driven and they put miles and miles just to support their son's foolish dream of playing college football, and the other silly stuff I've done. And I do remember, this isn't on the list, but I do remember like our first podcast, Tom Clark, Sue Clark come over. They've been my guinea pigs on a lot of experimental meals. A lot of experimental meals they made. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna try my hand at barbecue. I'm gonna try my hand at this. Y'all want to come over and eat? I said, we made Reubens, and I smoked corned beef the other day, and they were over to eat Reubens, which they turned out good. But I remember Tom going, what do you mean I'm cheap? I've seen that man tip $5 on $100 tab. So I'm just saying, the man is, I love him. He ain't the cheapest guy in the world, but he's up there. Speaking of,
it's been a great year, but we need to start this one off like we do most of our episodes, or at least we put it in there somewhere with our, me and you both have a love for Chris Farley, and so we've been doing this Holy Shnikes moment, right?
Yeah, I remember we wanted to do this segment. We were kicking around names, and you're like, we can't. And I was like, dude, it's easy.
Holy Shnikes.
Holy Shnikes.
This one, Clint, the first one I want to talk about is, Clint, have scientists been able to genetically engineer a mix between a man and a grizzly bear?
They have not.
Sure.
I don't know. They're doing experiments in Area 51. I don't know.
I think I saw one on NFL Network the other day.
Oh, I think you
did. His name is Jordan Davis. He played for Georgia Bulldogs. He's 6'6", 340 pounds. And Clint, he timed a 40-yard dash. 40-yard dash in 4.79 seconds.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, that's insane.
What?
Let me ask you something. Travis, at your fastest at Greenbrier High School, what was the fastest 40 you ever ran?
I ran my last 40 on our, I got to like a 5'8" or 5'6".
Yeah. I think I ran
my life.
Now, yeah, best year of my life, I was probably playing college football. We'll get to that in a second. But Greenbrier High School, you ran on concrete like asphalt pavement, and the end of it kind of dipped down a little bit. You had like a little dip. So I think I ran a 5.5. It wasn't a realistic 5.5.
Yeah. But most of my 40s were up around the 6.
Right. Yeah.
That was 11th grade. I lost a bunch of weight in 11th grade, and I was working out like a beast all the time, and I was able to do it then.
Right, because me and you would get together and we would run from the field house to almost to the high school, which was not a short little jog. No. But we worked out quite a bit our 11th grade year. Now, when I was at Arkansas Tech, and I take pride in this, I was the slowest football player on their team for 4 years in a row. We have enough ex-teammates to live. I mean, Stumpy, Jumbo listens some. Gabe Saracel is like pretty much my stalker. So I've got no contact order, but it's not a big deal. But so I was the slowest player on their football team 4 years in a row. If I would have been racing a pregnant woman, I would have come in third. Still would. Yeah. I stole that joke from Mark Grace, and I've been using it for years and claiming it's my own. But I mean, long time. I've got a lot of mileage out of that joke. And I stole it from Mark Grace on the Jim Rome show. back when he was the noon show in Little Rock. That's how long ago. That's how long I've been using that joke. But yeah, I think I never broke a 6 flat in college, but it was like legit 6.
Yeah,
You run it. You run it on the football field. You're not. You're in your cleats. So, but yeah, I never broke it. I never like
Davis, Clint runs a 4.78. Now here's the other thing, Clint. Do you remember when Arkansas played them?
Oh yeah, I do. It was bad.
It was all over the field.
Yeah.
None of our guys could get away from it, right? Now we know why. Do you know that most of the people say that he was probably playing 40 pounds heavier back then than what he ran that 40 in at the combine?
What? And it wasn't just
weight since the end of the season.
Dude, have you seen? Did you see any of the other drills that he did?
Yeah, all his times were like.
It was ridiculous. They were doing, this thing where you
tight ends are just glorified receivers now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just whoa, really that happened? Now
we had running
another Holy Snikes moment.
Oh yeah.
That you wanted to share about.
Well, did you see Calvin Ridley today?
Oh yeah.
He got suspended for the entire season for betting on football games.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of them cases. I don't think the punishment fits the crime. But that being said, we don't know what he was betting on.
Yeah.
Because you have certain inside information that you can use to make money. He said, I bet $1,500. But that doesn't matter if you're betting on football. If you're an NFL football player, you can't gamble on football. Yeah. Paul Hornung got suspended a year for it. Yeah. There's baseball. You got Pete Rose, Joe Jackson, but yeah, I mean, it's just insane. He says it's only $1,500, but and we were having this discussion at work today. I'm like, being that he was an Alabama alum, he's probably got a teammate on every team.
Yeah.
So he's probably he knows hey, Joe Burrow's got a bum ankle. Well, maybe bet the other way. Yeah. So he's going to have inside information, and it's not a good look. It's something that he shouldn't have done.
But still, just a whole year.
Well, and he wasn't even playing. It's one thing if he's playing, if the Falcons are playing the 49ers and he bets on the Falcons to lose, then that's a totally different ball game. That's inexcusable. But he, wasn't playing last year because he was hurt, or no, he said mental health.
Mental health, yeah. And here's the thing, Clint. I think I've rethought my stance on this. My mind has changed because I just remembered something. He was on one of my fantasy teams.
Oh yeah.
And I was counting on him to get me points. And then he had to take a mental health break. Now, look, mental health is a serious thing. I'm not trying to belittle it. But if he, if he could still gamble, I mean, come on. No, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. He hurt my team. So at least I'll know.
Was it the Bono Browns or was it somebody else?
Well, I have 2 Bono Brown teams.
Okay.
Anyway. All right, Clint. So that's our Holy Snikes. Now what we want to do, well, first of all, the baseball team, let's talk about them. They got their, they're not doing as good as we'd like to see. Their bats aren't, their bats rattle a little better this weekend.
Yeah.
The pitching's looking pretty good, Clint. Really.
The pitching's looking real good.
The pitching's not looking bad at all, but offense is just not doing what we expected it to do.
Yeah. No, they're not. I think Caden Wallace, he doesn't, and we'll talk more about him later, but he doesn't have a home run yet. But no, they're pitching great. Now I was watching them the other day because the beautiful thing about ESPN Plus, I get all the games.
Yeah.
Now they had this one series, that thing they did in Round Rock, which they were doing on some kind of streaming service, and I heard everybody say it was terrible.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they have all of them on ESPN Plus,
Yeah.
which is part of the reason I gladly pay for ESPN Plus, because I get, this is my commercial for ESPN Plus. But like a couple of years ago when Arkansas lost to Western Kentucky played UCA earlier in the season. I watched the game.
Yeah.
You get to see stuff like that. So I get most of the baseball games on that. So I was watching it the other day, and there's no commercials. Like they're just sitting out there like, I'm like, what, do you guys not like making money?
Yeah.
You got to think, like there should be some used car lot in Dover or something that's like, well, this commercial out there, pay $20 and I get to see.
Call them up and see if about what $10 will get us for the big.
Yeah, see what $10 will apparently get you an entire halftime. I mean, entire in between innings. Like, I guarantee you, Kim Hankey would have snatched that up back in the day.
That's right. Oh, Kim Hankey.
Kim Hankey. Hankey Brothers signing.
Oh, that's a group from Arkansas. That's a
Hankey Brothers. Hankey family, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
We're looking for sponsors. Call your boys.
That's right. Yeah. Now here's, Clint. I don't know. I don't remember. Did the Hogs basketball team play this weekend? Was there a game?
No, they were off. No game.
Okay, no game.
Scott Lawson messaged me. There was no basketball game. We didn't lose to Tennessee.
Yeah.
No, they did. They did play, and I want to tell you. Then one thing I will say about this, it was what it was. It was a game Arkansas really didn't need. Well, I mean, it mattered for seedings because I think we've got a tough road to hoe in the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
Because if everything goes chalk, if you look at it, you got LSU, and you win that one, then you got Auburn. So that's two tough games. I think, barring a major run in the SEC tournament, I think we're looking at a 4 seed, maybe a 5 seed, and the difference between that, who cares? So I don't think, but it did nice. They fought their butts off. They came back and got within. Actually, it was a couple bad plays away. If a good pass to Devo, it would have been tied.
Well, and I think too, I didn't get to watch it. I was moving again, which is why I'm in my church office. My internet is not hooked up to the place. Yes, I moved just a few months ago, but now I am actually in the town where I pastor at, which is great. But I think we saw what happens without Tony. He not having him hurt us. His defensive prowess and his ability, and just a bad shooting night for a lot of guys. So,
but Tennessee gets a lot of credit for that. Tennessee played really well.
Now,
I mean, I think
is, Clint, does that loss end up maybe helping us refocus?
I think so. You don't want to come in, on a smooth ride. I don't think you want to hit some adversity. And I think, and now give Tennessee's crowd a tip of the cap, because they were up for us. Yeah. They were like, okay, you're going to get loud on us. We're going to get loud on you. And that's what college sports is all about. Yeah. And that was a good environment. So I think it'll help us in the long run, just because, okay, we got humbled.
Yeah, but I see that. I think that's what you want to say as a coach, right? You want to say, hey, boys, we're going to learn from this. We're going to grow from it. We're going to be a better team. But you kind of count on an SEC tournament loss to do that for you.
Yeah,
a lot of times. You know what I mean? Now when you have the buys that we do, the first couple round buys, you don't count on that as much. Because you hope you make it to I'd like to see them make it to the finals of the SEC tournament, but we'll see what happens. Well, Clint, it's been a year, man.
Holy shnikes, what a year. I mean, it has been a fun year. It's been fun to cover everything. It's been, we've had our me talking about Willy Wonka and my disdain for Grandpa Joe, which I still have a severe disdain.
That's right.
For Grandpa Joe. But yeah, man, but it has been just an incredible year.
Well, we started out last year and we got to talk about the Hogs Elite 8 run, which was magical.
It was. Because how long had it been since we had been to the Sweet 16?
Well, since the 90s, wasn't it?
I mean, it had been a long, long time. It was like, Arkansas's got such a rich tradition in basketball. And it's crazy to think, that it had been that long since we had made a run that far.
Especially after that COVID year that had gotten shut down. And
Right.
all that. I mean,
No, I was also talking about that year today, that team that had Isaiah Joe, had Mason Jones. Could you imagine that team? Like this team, it was one move, one decision away from being a Final Four caliber team. If Daniel Gafford would have came back, and they would have had it, because they didn't have a big.
No, not at all.
And and obviously I don't know if Gafford knew they were going to fire Mike Anderson or not. But obviously it made a huge difference. But you have Gafford on that team. Wow, that would have been a tough ball team. Especially
I'm kind of skipping around here, but also, just last week, we had that interview with Danny Dring, and we talked a little bit about Thug Nasty, and then what did he do this weekend, Clint?
Completely dominated. Edson Barboza is a legend. I mean, there's no way around it. And I know you didn't watch the fight because you were moving, and you're not a big MMA fan, but Bryce's stand-up looked great. He knocked him down with a solid punch. His wrestling looked great as always. Just completely dominated the fight. When you can have a judge score one of the judges scored at 30-25, which to get a 10-8 round, you have to completely dominate somebody. So two judges gave him one 10-8 round, and one of them gave him two 10-8 rounds against, like a legend in the sport. The guy's fought Khabib. He's fought legendary names, and for Bryce to get one judge to score at 30-25, another one scored 30-26 is awesome. I mean, it's just.
And another way we see that it was an impressive win, and we see the powers that be saw that it was an impressive win, is Bryce gets up and afterwards he tells Joe Rogan that he's going to give half of his purse to sick kids in Arkansas to help kids with medical issues. Which, $90,000, I guess, is what his side was going to be. So he said he'd $45,000. And then Dana White comes out and says, "Hey, Bryce, save that for the camo shorts, buddy. I'll take care of the $45,000 for you."
Yeah.
Now, Dana White doesn't do that. Even though Dana White's got it, and he can drop that out of his wallet. It costs him more to stop and pick it up than it does for,
Right. Yeah.
But still, he doesn't do that if he's not taking care of a guy he feels like.
No, and they see money in Bryce.
Yeah.
That's the long and short of it. Bryce is a personable guy. He's a marketable guy. Bryce is Bryce. That guy you saw in the post-fight interview and all that, even some of the crazy stuff Bryce spouts out, that's Bryce. Bryce believes it. And Bryce, I don't know. There's a link that I'll show you. This is like Bryce leading up to camp that got released after. Bryce lives in like a field in Searcy in a camper, and he took one of his fight of the night bonus and basically built a roof, like a shed to go over his camper.
Yeah.
That's where Bryce lives. Bryce is, and he legit lived there. And I think he goes to Harding part-time, drives to Little Rock. Yeah. I mean, he's always training, always going, but he doesn't need a lot. And Bryce is a minimalist. And part of the reason he chooses he keeps his cost of living cheap. Bryce will tell you, I goes, I'm about the cheapest guy there is in the world. If I can reuse it, I reuse it. Watching him walk around the farm reminded me of growing up with my pawpaw. You got chickens and cows, everything out there.
Well, good for him. Good for Arkansas boy. Well, Clint, this year we've had lots of things happen. We got our one of our other best friends, Bobby B, Robert. You and him gotten in a few fights and gotten over it, but that's been happening since junior high.
That's been happening way before junior high.
Yeah.
Because you may be my best friend, but Robert may honestly be my oldest friend. Me and Robert, we played buddy league baseball together.
Yeah.
Robert was the first baseman. I was the backup center fielder. I started off as the starting center fielder, and then I wasn't very good.
Well, me and Robert wasn't real close before I moved to Greenbrier, but my next door neighbor in Clinton was his cousins, and he would come up and stay with them some in the summertime. And so since we were the same age, and I followed his older cousins were like teenagers when I was like 5, 6 years old or whatever, and I followed them around like a puppy dog. I mean, they're the ones that started me watching wrestling. That's where I played my first Atari. That's I learned how to fish from them. Everything. And so I was at their house all the time. And so I spent a lot of time with Robert in those summer times when he'd come up or he'd come up for family deals. And so me and him hung out. And so I knew him already when I got to Greenbrier. But it wasn't like we were, best friends or anything like that. We didn't see each other than just when he was up there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's the cool thing about being friends though, and being friends as long as we have is you are kind of like brothers. Sometimes brothers fight and you just get over it and you go on.
Yeah, we haven't had anything we can't hash out. I mean, me and him sit outside before my super fight and talk for a good 30 minutes because we'd been arguing the week before.
When you got as much history as we do,
no,
you know each other's dumb stuff we've all done, then it's just you remember, hey, let's get over it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but that's been added some excitement and some stress at times.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my bad, Big T.
Now, Arkansas football, we saw some good things. We go from 2-10 to 3-7 to 9-4.
Went 2-10, 2-10, 3-7.
Yeah.
Now that 3-7's deceptive.
It is.
It really is.
That was the COVID.
Because of the COVID year, that was an all SEC schedule. And so you were going to Notre Dame. You had 3 rental wins. You had 3 rental, and they were legit rental wins. So you'd have won that, but you would have beat Tennessee and the Mississippi's.
Well, those were our. Who was it that was our? Was it Ole Miss, the first win in that?
Mississippi State at Mississippi State.
Okay, that was our first SEC win in a while. Like
2.5 years.
Yeah.
I think since Burt won at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So we hadn't had a coach win an SEC game since Brett Bielema.
Yeah.
Lost to football juggernauts Western Kentucky, San Jose State.
Yeah.
I mean, just we were the bottom of the barrel in football. And then the next year, you watch that Georgia game, and it got away from the second half, Pittman's first year, and we go into halftime up, and they had pulled their starting quarterback, and you're just like, and you're like, you could tell from the beginning it was going to be different. You could tell, and then you beat Mississippi State, and then you come home, you beat Ole Miss, and you're just like, and then you beat Tennessee. Those are 3,
Well, and what's been so great about it, Clint, is just watching the fans start to believe again in our football team. Sam Pittman's brought that to us. That's something we've watched, something we got to really see this last year. we legitimately went into every game, and I really I believe we can beat anybody. Okay, I'm the consummate. I'm David versus Goliath. There's always a chance. Okay, but even if I thought about it realistically, every game we went into, there was a chance. Even Georgia, there was a chance.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if there was anybody I was worried about, it was them, just because of their lines. But I still thought, you know what? If we play our best, and heck, their quarterback remembers he's a walk-on, maybe, So that to me, man, is going into games knowing and just belief. And then, what we're seeing with, recruiting and everything else. I mean, it's Razorback football is.
The football's back. And if you listen to the national talking heads, they'll tell you that Pittman's doing it the right way. They're not, Arkansas football's not going anywhere. It's not. It's going to be here. They're recruiting well, and we'll talk more about that later. But man, I mean, it's just nice for football to be back. Back. It's not like, oh, you're an Arkansas fan. Ha, 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 ha. You're the Vanderbilt of the West. No, we're not.
And another sport no one has laughed at is baseball. Our baseball team has continued to be one of the top teams in the nation, even though we haven't gone to Omaha and won it all yet. Okay, we're still coming up short there. This team continues to be one of the top teams in the nation and respected that way. Our fans keep proving we have the best fans. We have one of the best places in the world to play baseball because of the fans, because of the facilities. It's been fun to watch them play.
It has, and they were pretty much start to finish number one last year. North Carolina State finally got them.
And it
But
made it even funner to watch when you have. I'm gonna cherry pick a couple from down our list here, Clint. But
go ahead.
When you have a Cooper Kupp, a guy like him who wasn't that his name?
Kevin Copps.
Sorry, Kevin Copps.
You said Cooper Kupp. I'm like,
wrong guy.
do we have a little wide receiver I don't know about playing?
No, Copps. We have a guy like him coming in and pitching the way he did last year.
I mean, National Player of the Year.
I mean, we hadn't seen anybody like that. I mean, that's Mariano Rivera stuff.
Yeah.
What he was doing.
It really was because when Rivera would come in, Enter Sandman would come play. Like, well, this game's over.
That's right.
Well, I mean, it's like they would start playing Enter Sandman at the end of the fifth inning, and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you just wanted the starter to get 2 or 3. I've never in college baseball is a little bit different than MLB, but I'd never seen anything like. I mean, the close thing, like you said, is Mariano Rivera. He had like a .86 ERA.
Yeah.
Just something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he ended up being a second, third round draft pick. Has actually done pretty good in the Padres organization.
Yeah.
And that was right after coming to Arkansas. I mean, leaving Arkansas, but man, you're gonna miss him. And he just learned a new pitch. He learned that cut fastball.
Yeah.
Changed his career.
He started drinking beet juice.
from Shroot Farms.
That's right. Dwight Shoots picking him up. And then speaking of baseball, it had a little different connection for us this year. And, with a guy from Woo-Town.
From the Shawbridge Slugger.
Shawbridge Slugger, Caden Wallace, man. He's just represented so well last year as a freshman. Played so well and just living up to expectations. And he had a lot of expectations.
Yeah.
He's lived up to them and continuing to do that this year a little bit. And he's hit pretty well. He hasn't got those home runs yet, but he's playing some mean third base right now.
He's playing great third base. You know, he was one of them, you know, you hear of them football players. He's like, well, this guy's too good to be standing over here by me. I got to figure out a way to get him on the field. And that's the way they did with Caden Wallace last year. You had one of the best defensive third basemen in baseball. And then you had somebody else that hit pretty good, but the way to get the most power on the field was to put him out in right field. So, I mean, he can pretty much play anywhere in the outfield, can play third base. He played third base in high school, and I guess that's where they found the spot for him this year. But, man, our hometown, just in general, I mean, some big things have happened this year. Greenbrier, Arkansas, me and Travis both class of 1994 at Greenbrier High School. I mean, big things. Number one, you got Caden Wallace. Starting, I mean, pretty much true freshman start. He's going to play this year and next year. He's going to get drafted extremely high. You know, I remember Robert telling me a couple years ago, he goes, man, you need to get over to Greenbrier and watch Caden Wallace. He's something special. He's something fun, special to watch. But I mean, he's one of them high school. I mean, he batted like something like 600 in high school. He's one of them guys you're like, he gets up, you're like, just go stand over there on first. We ain't even going to play with you. But we also had an Olympian.
Well, and in Wallace's same family.
Yeah.
Like they're getting together at grandma's house together. His cousin, her first name, Browning.
Kaylee Browning.
She goes to the Olympics and doesn't get the gold, got silver, but still.
And as Kyle Nolan will tell you, ain't nothing wrong with silver.
That's right. Ain't nothing wrong with silver. She did a great job representing well. She's worked hard over the years. Her dad, I know, has put a lot of effort into helping her get to where she's at. And then, not only that, man, our football team at Greenbrier had the best season ever. Yeah,
they had a great team. I know you talked about the between two Matts, Matt Wilcox and what's the other Matt's name?
I forget his name,
but well, not important.
I feel bad.
Matt, whatever your name is, I didn't mean to disrespect you, but I did. But we went to high school with Matt Wilcox, so but you know, they said Matt Wilcox when he was coaching Pee Wee with Greenbrier and Bologna, he's like, guys, y'all stay together, y'all be playing for state title. And then they happened to run into the state champion in the semis. I think everybody can agree that the two best football teams in that classification were Pulaski Academy and Greenbrier. And they were. I mean, but Pulaski Academy is the juggernaut they are for a reason. They got a guy like Anthony Lucas coaching them for a reason. Well, but it was just that team was special.
Wilcox got hurt.
Yeah. Wilcox did get hurt. And you don't want to use that as an excuse why you lost, but it's the reality of the situation because Pulaski Academy beat the Greenbrier that was in front of them that day.
That's right. Yeah.
So, but a heck of a season, a semifinal run, undefeated regular season. I mean, just trounced Bologna. You know, so, and Bologna was maybe the third best team in the state.
Yeah, they were good.
So, but man, heck of a year for Greenbrier athletics, really, when you think about it. You know, you got Browning, an Olympian, Caden Wallace starting for the Razorbacks. Football had a good run. Cooper Wilcox, the starting quarterback, signed a scholarship, play for University of Central Oklahoma.
Now, I will say, Clint, people in Greenbrier don't need to get used to having a football season like they just had.
No.
Because they're moving up to 6A, and they're going into the fire. Because they're going to be with, who all is it? PA?
El Dorado, I think.
Dorado, Greenwood. Who else was it? I mean, there's several.
Do you remember what we were? Do you remember what classification we were when we were in high school?
2A.
2A. Yeah. Of course, that's the
biggest.
That's the it's deceptive because back then, back in 1994, There was Class B, which was your basketball only schools,
Yeah.
your Guy Perkins. Then you had Mayflower, the Class A, then your Greenbrier. Then you had your bigger schools with 3A, and then your huge schools, your Conways,
We're 4A.
and all that were 4A.
Well, and the thing is, to tell the difference a little bit, Clint, Camden at that time, well, in the early 90s, before they consolidated the schools, had 2 4A schools in the same town of 13,000 people. Okay, they had 2 4A, Camden and Fairview. And so that was now with the 7A, there's 16 teams. The 16 biggest schools are 7A. The second 16 teams, biggest schools are 6A. The next 32 are 5A. And then 32, 4A. And then I think 3A, 2A are even bigger.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it's totally different now, but Greenbrier does not need to get used to that 12-win seasons, at least for a while.
No, it's going to be, they're going to have a little bit tougher time to hold. Now, Travis, on this football team, this Arkansas football team, the first time in a while, we've got a legit first-round draft pick.
We do. He wasn't the freak at the combine I thought he was going to be. For one thing, his hands were smaller than we thought. Now, they measure the hand to the tip, and his hands, they say, aren't real long. They're wide. That's why he needs 5X gloves. Okay, so he's one of those that's like, like your grandpa was with those country strong hands.
Yeah.
I mean, I always would get mad. My stepdad, we'd work on a truck, and I was twice his size and a lot stronger than him, but we would be trying to get a bolt off, and he could get it off, and I couldn't, because he just worked with his hands all the time. Okay, and that's kind of the way Traylon Burke's hands are, right? But he still put up some good numbers, and he's a legit first rounder, man.
No, I've seen him going anywhere from the first receiver to like the third or fourth, but he'll go in the first round. I saw one scenario, and I don't even think this is fair, where he falls to the Titans and they would have him, Julio Jones, and AJ Brown.
Oh.
I don't care. I mean, I don't care if you got Tannehill or not. It just
You could put Clint Clark at quarterback and still do all
yeah. You'd be like, well, Traylon's down there. One of them's down there somewhere. I'm just going to fling it.
Yeah.
So we've also in this past year, it looks like World War III started.
Yeah, man, things are crazy right now. That's we try to be goofy and joke a lot, but there's some scary stuff happening right now in our world, and we don't know where it's going to lead. But all I know is those gas prices are climbing.
Yeah,
And
I'm buying me a horse.
The memes are wonderful. I love the one someone's passing around saying, what a blessing. We just got approved for the loan. Now maybe we can get our tank of gas this week.
Yeah. There's been a bunch ago. I saw the Fred Flintstone mobile.
Yeah.
I saw that one. But
at the time of this taping, it's like $3.89 down here in South Arkansas.
And also, if y'all tuned into the podcast last week, we turned into pod 51. You didn't have to listen to a lot of it. We covered it in the very beginning. There's aliens on Pluto.
There is Pluto equals
aliens.
We talked about it, Clint. We talked about that. Me and you both think that there's possibility of other life form out there.
Yeah.
And we think that that's the conspiracy. That's why they got rid of Pluto as a planet, because they know that's where they're at. That's where they're hanging out.
You got to think about it. They're always discovering some new species of something like, this has been around for 1,000 years, but we're just now discovering, that's an alien.
That's right.
An alien that got loose.
That's right.
You're not fooling me. You're not fooling Bigger T.
That's right.
We're on to you, government.
And once again, Clint, I haven't had anyone contact me about one of the shirts. I guess we're not going to get those made. You know?
Nope. I guess not. I guess not.
You know, hey, I think a Big C, Bigger T podcast shirt that says aliens equals, or Pluto equals aliens.
Right.
It's money. It's money.
I think yep. I agree.
Now, Clint, this year also.
This was my favorite one to put on the outline. This one right here.
I knew it was. Is that, you know, we did our little trivia, kind of like, you know, myself and Robert have competed on the Buzz's Clergy Bowl before. And so we kind of, you know, it's just a sports trivia deal. And so we decided just to do our own little sports trivia contest a couple times. And you won both of them.
I did.
Congratulations, Clint.
I won nothing except for bragging. No. The big winner. Why, Yahoo for me.
You did well.
Oh.
You did well. You fought hard. You dug into the cesspool and had more information.
I tried to, you know, I just gave it 110%, and good Lord willing, I can help the ball club.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. I've always been like really, you know, good when it comes to trivia. That's why I was so salty. We talked about this, about how our librarian, Mrs. Hartwick, wouldn't let me compete in Battle of the Books.
Yeah.
Because she thought we'd fall too much. And I sit there and listen. I'm like, how can y'all not know this?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't even read these books and I know these answers.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah. So it is good.
You did good there, but you know, and normally I tend to mess it up when I go into things like that. I'm not a big winner a lot of times on things like that. Except this year in the Pick'em contest.
Yeah, you won it.
Your boy. Hey, I defeated a worthy opponent in yourself. I defeated some awesome guest pickers we had. And I got to say, I beat our moms.
You did.
I did. Even I had one where I shot the moon. I picked all 10 correct.
No, and I had to put that in there because that was impressive. Because, you know, you had that one guy, and I was telling my son what a parlay was.
Yeah.
And I was telling him about that guy in that bet all the NFL games. I said he gets to the last one, and the brother had picked the lines to win.
Yeah, yeah.
I like, you know, he had to look at that. And go, freaking Jared Goff.
Well, we've had some other things, some fun stuff, Clint. We learned who Pole Assassin was.
We did learn who Pole Assassin was. And dude, that was I think, you know, we talked about, we had guest pickers, and there's a few of them we had on for the entire episode. We had Jumbo on for the entire episode, and that was the Pole Assassin episode.
Yeah.
And I think Jumbo's reaction to Pole Assassin and me telling that story was one of my favorites. Yeah. Guys, if you don't have, not kids, adults, if you don't know who Pole Assassin is, Google it. Google it. And then tell it Uncle Clint says you're welcome.
Yeah, it's
but don't do it unless you're over 18.
Yeah, and just be careful. But yeah.
Don't use your work browser.
Had a pet monkey. And she worked in gentlemen's clubs. She was the girlfriend of a Texas football coach.
Special teams coordinator, I believe.
And at a Halloween get-together thing, her monkey bit a kid. Yeah. And it was her mental health monkey, right?
It's emotional support monkey.
Emotional support monkey. Yeah. That story just,
I mean, you can make this up, but no one would believe it.
Yeah. And Clint, now we talked about it already a little bit, but you know, the recruiting at Arkansas right now,
it's on a whole other level.
It's amazing.
You know, I was bored at work today and I Googled, I hope none of my bosses are listening to this podcast. But I Googled 2023 NBA mock draft just for giggles.
Yeah.
Nick Smith's like going number 5. They got Jordan Walsh at 17. Guys ain't even dribbled a basketball for Arkansas yet.
Wow.
And you got one surefire lottery pick and another one that's borderline.
Yes.
And I also saw Anthony Black, who we're in the mix for. If I was gambling, I would say he's going to Texas.
Yeah.
But he's also he's there too. They got him. So there's a chance 3 lottery picks, anywhere from 2 to 3 lottery picks,
Hey, and then I was listening to Trey Biddy today, and this weekend the football team had a stud quarterback from Georgia, Malachi something. It's a highly rated quarterback coming in, as a possible recruit that looked good. All 3 of baseball, basketball, and football are ranked in the top 5 for their next draft class. Now, football is going to fall out of that once the blue chip schools start getting their blue chip commitments. But still, man, for them to be ranked that high right now,
yeah,
that's amazing.
I don't care if it's like a month in the recruiting or however far in the recruiting it is. To have a recruiting class that high is still just, we've never seen it. And I think that just shows you give Pittman time to build those relationships. Yeah. And he's going to do it. I think Pittman's one of them guys people want to play for. Yeah. Dave Van Horn, Dave Van Horn has proven he can get you to the major leagues. Yeah. You want to get drafted, you want to play professional baseball, play for Dave Van Horn. Yeah. And when you have Steve Kerr come out and talk about how well Arkansas prepared him for the NBA, Moses Moody for the NBA. That if I'm Eric Musselman, I have that saved on my favorites on YouTube. I go to a recruit's home and go, hey, listen to Steve Kerr.
He's already sent it to every recruit he's got on his list.
Yeah.
Well, and Clint, over the last year, we've also had lots of good interviews, lots of good guests. With the Pick'em, we had someone different on each week. We had your brother, we had Jumbo, we had
Trey Day, all day, every day.
From Power 92. We had guy that works with you. What was his name?
Oh, Dustin.
We had my buddy Adam, my buddy Matt. Has some great guests, right? And then we've here recently we've done some great interviews that, folks, if y'all haven't watched them or listened to them yet, go and we'll listen to the Dion Holloman interview. Go and listen to the Danny Dring interview. Sorry, if you want to call him Danny Dring interview.
Chandler Bing.
Yeah, that's why I keep messing up again.
We could have it. We could probably get him on here.
That's right.
He ain't doing nothing.
Go back and listen to those, okay? Go back on our pages and listen to those. Those are so good, and you're going to learn so much. You're going to be inspired by those guys, and we hope to bring some more like that to you as we go down the line. Now, at the beginning, though, Clint, if you remember, if you go back in the way back machine at the beginning of the year, we started out each day. We had a segment each week, and we asked, what guests would we like to get?
Right.
On our that might be a somewhat realistic guess. Okay. Now, one of them, I think both of us wanted to get that we got was Bill Buckner.
We did. Dude, I love the Buckner interview.
Our old high school football coach. But, mine was always a guy named Jeff Nichols, who's a writer, producer of movies. He did Mud, Loving, Midnight Express. He's done some really good movies. I want to pitch the guy a movie idea I have, okay, about the Maude Crawford story. If you don't know what the disappearance of Maude Crawford, legal disappearance of Maude Crawford.
Didn't you tweet him and he tweets you back, or message him and he messaged you back?
No, that was someone else. That was another
Okay.
guy that does.
Well, I've slept since then.
But like I can't find a way to get if he was on social media, I would have already tried that route. But anyway, so we never have got him. We never got Judd Apatow.
Judge Reinhold, Ray McKinnon.
Yeah, Judge Reinhold. Judge Reinhold. That's what I was thinking. Judd Apatow.
Yeah, like Judd Apatow. I mean, he's a little big for us.
Yeah. Judge Reinhold. That was the one. Yeah. But hey, you never know.
No, you never know. And I'd love to have Bryce on sometime. I think Bryce may be a little big for us now. You know, when you're top 10 welterweight in the world, I guess.
Well, I sent him a tweet today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he put on Twitter, he said, who should I challenge next or something like that? And I said,
You telling me?
I said, you should challenge the Big C Bigger T podcast. And then I linked the Danny Dring episode to it.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, we'll see.
No, I probably no, real talk. I could probably get, I'd love to interview Rowley sometime, which is pretty much his head coach now. Rowley was actually there when I got my black belt. So yeah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I'd love to. He's one of them that I would love to sit down and talk to sometime.
And then, Clint, we had a little gimmick at the beginning that we would talk about sponsors that would be fitting for our show. Okay.
Potted meat.
We've had one sponsor, Hometown Roofing. And look, just to clear the air, the books. Okay, we are paid podcasters. And do you want to know how much we've been paid? Well, about 3 or 4 meals.
Yeah, I mean,
Robert's been kind enough to buy us dinner a few times. I think a lunch one time for me. So when he was down here visiting, okay, so that's what we've been paid, and so we talk about Hometown Roofing for all your roofing needs. Wood, it's shingles.
the thing that goes around the chimney.
Yes, right, yeah. But we thought, hey, well, maybe we could get some other companies, that would be on our level. And we came up with, I thought, some pretty good ideas.
There's some great ones.
I think
egg crates
with potted meat.
Yeah, potted meats, egg crates. Those little peanut butter candies that you get from Halloween that no one likes to eat.
That's right. Yeah. None of them have called though, Clint.
3-in-1 body wash, shampoo, conditioner combos.
That's right. Yeah. That I don't understand it. They haven't called. Oh well. Now, Clint. So we've kind of gone through this whole year, okay, and we're kind of getting close to, we need to start wrapping up here, but it has been a great year. It's been a great 52 episodes.
It has been.
What's next?
World domination.
Exactly.
I'm going to blow up and act like I don't know any of you. That's what's going to happen. Blow up and act like I don't know nobody.
Look, we enjoy doing this. We're having a good time doing it. And once again, we do it. We hope you enjoy listening. We hope it gives you something to think about. We hope it gives you something to talk to your friends about. We hope it helps you as you build friendships with your best friends. And as y'all talk about things and you talk about how dumb we are for things we said and did, whatever you want to do, we're here for you. But we are thankful, so thankful to be able to do this. And for those of y'all that do download and listen, please share, like it, leave reviews, all that good stuff. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to it so it downloads automatically onto your phone or whatever you listen to podcasts on. And we would love to have you. We don't know what this year will hold, Clint.
No, we do know Travis is on Farmers Only.
That's right. Farmers Only.
But guys, we don't. I mean, we joke about being paid podcasters. We don't care about making money off this. We really do it because we love it, and we hope that we entertain you in some ways, even if it's making fun of my misfortune in getting the time and temperature number instead of an actual lady's phone number. I mean, it to me, it's just like, hey, we love doing this, and we hope that you get something out of it. You know, maybe now and then, you know, we can inspire you. Maybe we can make you laugh. Maybe we can hit you with some knowledge. But today, we just hope you entertain and you enjoy listening to us, because we enjoy doing it. And thank you guys. Thank you guys. You know, our views are what they are. We're not doing awful. We're not doing great. We're not setting the world on fire. But guys, for all of you that take time, an hour a week, hour and 15 minutes a week, to pay attention, to listen to us talk, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Every one of them means a lot to us. Every click means a lot.
Yeah, and I love getting text, and I love getting messages, and that. Travis, I see you have a baseball bat behind you. Is that signed by anybody?
I think it's by an old softball team from the church.
It'd been cooler if it was signed by Randy Jackson.
That was here when I got here. Yeah. I had a church member make this for me.
Oh, that's
Razorback mirror thing. He etched that out and made the frame for it. Looks pretty cool. I like it. I got my Make Me Look Smart books over there.
oh.
The people that helped me move said they were not going to help me move anymore because I had too many books. So accumulate lots and lots of books.
I don't have any books, not one.
Leather brown books.
And my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Well, yo, Clint, once again, number 52. It's in the bag, baby.
Woo!
It's in the books. It's done. Thank y'all so much, Clint. Love you, brother. You're the man. Enjoy doing this with you. Couldn't see myself doing it with anybody else. It's a joy. It's a pleasure every week to get to do this and hang out with you through the Zoom machine each week. Folks, have a great week. Be great. Do something great. In the words of Jon Stewart, don't just check things off a list. Live them. Have a good week.
Bye.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I swear.